Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Your Father's Story. Bought book. Supposed to write in book. Did not write in book. Now make videos about book. I think that pretty much sums it up. So I answer questions from this book for my boys. So give them some fun and interesting facts about life, or, just ideas about life, I guess. Sometimes it's facts. Sometimes it's fiction. Sometimes it's just, whatever I feel. So let's have a look at. Oh God. Well, I just opened to this page and I can't go any farther. I'm getting out of the way of the microphone here. Without answering this question. Who was your first kiss? Where was it? And what was it like? Oh, I guess that depends on what you mean by my first kiss, huh? My first kiss was with a girl named Lindy. Or what I consider to be my first kiss anyway. I want to say it was in like second grade. And it was like right alongside of my house. It was just like a kiss on the cheek kind of thing. But I know it was one of those situations where I went in the house where I was like, I'm never washing this cheek again. It was one of those type of deals. So yeah, that was my first kiss. It's really kind of funny that like I had pictures of like doing the play in kindergarten, and there's this girl holding my hand as we're moving through like a crowd of people and stuff. So there was that thing going on when I was a little kid, like in elementary school. But when I got older and when I went into high school, no girls wanted to touch me. I was this nerdy kid with long hair and didn't know how to dress, and I just had this terrible wardrobe. And yeah, I was not a ladies' man at that time. It wouldn't be until like my late 20s working at Walmart that I became the ladies' man that I am now, I guess. So I guess that's the long and the short answer on that one. How did growing up in your decade differ from mine? That's an excellent question. I mean, the obvious answer is when I was growing up, there wasn't as many electronics. Not as many video games. I think like the Atari was just becoming a big deal at that time. The Commodore had been out for a while, but we didn't have one. I don't think I really knew anyone who did. I mean, I'm going to be that old guy that, everyone talks about now. We played outside a lot when I was younger. I know I've talked about that a lot. We played baseball virtually every day. There was woods behind my mom's house. We played Army and played all kinds of stuff in the woods and played all kinds of sports. And so we did a lot of that. But there was video gaming too. And I know we just did all kinds of stuff. The electronics that we did have didn't navigate too far away from walls, so if there was electronics going on, it was pretty close to the walls. Sometimes when we got a little bit older, I'd bring my stereo outside. We had outside outlets, so we'd plug it into that. We'd listen to music while we were doing stuff. I know this is a phrase that's thrown around like all the time. It was just a different time. We could like I think I've heard it said that like 80s parents just didn't know how to parent, or just didn't really bother parenting at all. I can pretty much vouch for the fact that was basically true. I mean, we could pretty much do whatever we wanted. But it's also fair to say that, like, well, can't speak for all of us, but most of us didn't do ridiculous shit that got us in trouble. We did ridiculous shit that could have got us killed. We used to love to make bike ramps and just drive down the road, just jump off the ramp, and that was fun stuff. And no helmets back then either. No helmets, no knee pads, no elbow pads, none of that shit. And I can't really sit here and say that there were too many like major injuries from that, like ever. So there was things like that going on. Just a different time. Just a different time. A lot of our parents were absentee parents too. So there was that going on. So we really, at least during the day, it was just like us, just this group of kids, just hanging out and doing whatever and venturing off into the woods and on adventures and stuff. It was a fun time. It was a fun time. But we were also assholes to each other, like really bad. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that doesn't differ too much from, right now. But, I know Christian had quite a bit of that, too, growing up, as far as, he had his friends that he hung out with. And, I mean, he didn't, like, venture too far away from home. It was more of a city environment where he lived. But, and I know Aiden played quite a bit in the woods and out in the yard, too, sometimes. So, but he didn't really have a lot of kids that lived around him. It was a little bit different, but he did go to other people's houses and stuff like that. Different time, different environment, less electronics. I think that's mostly, and the obvious answer is no internet. The news wasn't readily available all the time. But when something happened, we heard about it, and then it was the talk of the town, and then we just move on to the next day. So, I think I think that pretty much covers everything. I'm sure there's things that I'm missing, but, nothing I can really think about right now. And I think it's worth noting that, I grew up in a trailer park environment, so it's like, growing up in a trailer park environment is different than, I guess, what Christian lived. You lived on like a street, like a city street, and it's a little more difficult to go, venture farther out, whatever. I lived kind of, I guess, in an enclosed environment, so inside the trailer park, we were pretty much, could do whatever we wanted, and most people in that area knew each other, so, it is different, but fun times. I've got a question here that I'm going to have to ask another time. It's a different kind of question. I don't want to ask it because then you guys are going to get curious. So I'm going to save it for another time. I'm going to put a bookmark in here. But I am going to ask the other question that's on this page. It says, what is your most treasured memory of us together? I think I've talked quite a bit about some of my memories with Christian, and generally they involve video games. When I moved out to my dad's house in Cobleskill, I had really good memories of playing catch with Christian. I know it wasn't really his favorite thing in the world, but yeah, we did quite a bit of that. We kicked the soccer ball around. We did some things like that. There's a lot of things. Like, I loved going to the Great Escape with you guys. That was always fun. And, until it got old. We did it every year, and then, we all got kind of tired of it. But, that was during a time when I wasn't always with you guys because I was just living somewhere else. So, and didn't have a vehicle and all that shit. So, I treasured those times. I really did. Especially with Aiden, honestly, because I saw him less during that time. And it was just really important to me. trying to think of other memories of Christian. Like, I know we did. I mean, I want to say we did tons of different things, but, you know. I mean, Christian and I have lots of memories of watching stuff together, which I tend to document on Facebook, because I want to be able to go back and say, oh, we watched this like 2 years ago today, you know. I will say, watching The Shawshank Redemption with both of you guys is a treasured memory of mine. For those that don't know, I watched The Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption is like my favorite movie of all time. And when I watched it with my dad, it's just one of those movies that just grabs you, and, you know, it doesn't let you go. I watched it with Christian and his older brother, and we're sitting there watching it, and they're just sitting there watching, and I'm thinking, God, they're hating this. They are hating this, and they're just, you know, they're not really saying anything, but afterwards they both, you know, they both just talked about how much they loved it, and Christian just latched onto that movie. He's, you know, every once in a while he talks about how amazing that movie is, and, you know, so that is definitely a favorite thing of mine. And then when Christian and I watched it with Aiden, when we got close to the end and the climax, and, you know, it was whatever's happened is revealed, Aiden just looked at me, and there's tears in his eyes, and it's that moment when I knew that we had him, you know, the movie got him, you know, and, you know, I wasn't happy that he was crying or anything, but I guess in this instance I kind of was, because he connected with the story, and the story, you know, it's a very powerful story, and it's very well told, very well shot, and it's just like the perfect movie. So that's definitely a treasured memory I have with both of them. With Aiden specifically, I'm having trouble coming up with specifics, but there was a long period of time where I didn't see him very much because I was living far away, and like I said, I didn't have a vehicle. So anytime I got to come out and hang out with him was just, you know, I took that, you know, I treasured those times. I have pictures of, you know, I'm just like hugging him. He's just watching TV or playing video games or whatever, but I'm just hugging him, and, you know, just treasuring that moment, you know, because I didn't get it all the time. And, you know, there was things like that. There was a train ride that I talked about before, when he, you know, the wide eyes through the tunnel. Like I said, The Great Escape was always fun, you know, and did a lot of different things with Aiden too, because Kate always liked to take him to do different things, and I would always tag along for as much as possible. Watching Aiden play soccer is one of my favorite things ever, and going to his concerts and, you know, all that stuff, and going back to Christian, the spelling bees that he did. He was in the state spelling bee one time, which was just, for me, an amazing experience. He was the youngest person there. I think he finished like 18th out of 41 people, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, you know, all of Aiden's concerts, I'm going to get to go to another one at the end of the month. You know, running out of time on those, so definitely enjoying these last moments, you know, of that, you know, before we move on to other things. But and you know something, it's on a little bit of a different vein, but eating dinner at the dinner table and having the stupid conversations that we always have, and we almost always end up laughing, you know, those are times that I always cherish too. I always take time to enjoy the moment, you know. They don't always, you know, they're not going to be there forever. So I hope that was enough. Hope that was enough specifics for everybody. I can't really think of too many others, but, you know, like, I did so much stuff with Aiden, you know, going with Kate to different places, and you know, we did the pumpkin patch, and, you know, apple picking and stuff like that. So and Christian was there for those too. So just lots of different things. But all those things were stuff that I cherished, and you know, knew that those times weren't going to be there forever. So, yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. All right, that's enough sappy bullshit. Let me see if I can. Let's see if we can find something that's semi-humorous. Well, I guess, you know, I guess if there's one, I can go with that one. How does the idea of becoming a grandparent make you feel? Well, it's got to happen first before I can decide how I feel about it. I think I love being a grandparent. I really do. I think I love it. You know, it's that whole thing of being able to play with a child and then give it back. You know, you don't have to keep it. You don't have to, you know, take care of it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Although I will say, and you guys are going to totally shit on this and disagree with me, but being a parent is just one of my favorite things in my whole life. And, you know, obviously it's a lot of work 24/7, but it's ultimately the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So, you know, keep that in mind as you progress through life. I know you guys have different feelings on that, but, you know, it is not the end of the world. It's not, you know. And I know you guys have feelings about bringing a child into a world like this, but really, when was the world ever the type of world you would bring a child into? It's probably never going to be. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't worry about that so much and worry about, you know, being happy and, you know, in your own personal space and things like that. Anyways, how would I feel being a grandparent? Yeah, I would love it. I would be that silly old grandpa that tries to tell jokes that aren't funny, kind of like I do now. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I'd be trying to chase them around the house, although probably at that time I'm going to have a lot of trouble moving. I'm already having trouble moving now. So that might be a little bit difficult. But, you know, I'll get a little wheelchair that I can, you know, do myself. And, you know, I'll chase them around the house that way. And then, you know, they'll probably get a stick and just put it right in there, and then I won't be able to chase them anymore. So, you know, if we raise them the right way, that's exactly what's going to happen. So, you know, but I look forward to it, and I hope it'll happen. But, you know, I'm not gonna push you guys in that regard. That's your call. It's your choice, and you know, you guys know whatever you decide is fine with me. What was your most embarrassing moment in high school, and how did you survive it? Probably a couple candidates for that one. Most of them happened at relatively the same time. For whatever reason, in 8th grade was really the year I got bullied quite a bit. There's this one kid, I'm not going to dignify him with a name. Actually, it wasn't even the same kid. I'm just going into different things here. But anyways, there was one time when I was walking down the hall, and there's this group of kids coming the other way, and I was carrying a bunch of books, and this big kid with the group, just like out of nowhere, as he's walking toward me, just like hockey shoulder checks me like as hard as he can, and just poof, knocks me backward, knocks all my books on the ground, and you know, I fell backward, and you know, and then they laughed and went away. And the kind of shitty part about it was, my best friend at the time was with him, and I love him to death. He cared more about his image than he did, you know, anything else. So, so yeah, that was a thing that happened. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing, but I don't think there's really anyone else in the hall. I think I was late for class. I don't know why there was no one in the hall. It was kind of weird. I think a female friend of mine was there and helped me pick up my books, so that was kind of nice of her. I had another moment in mind. Oh yeah, this kid that I was going to talk about before started bullying me that year, and that year, well, we were doing wrestling in gym, which is the greatest thing ever, especially when you're being bullied. So this kid and one of his friends decide that they're going to pick me to be a partner. So I don't even know really what the drill was, but they basically took turns putting like a front face lock on me. And the one kid, like, was cinching up on it, like he's kind of choking me. So I get pissed off. So I pick him straight up off the ground. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then, lo and behold, you can imagine he was easier on me after that. I only took so much. Like, you know, I never got in any fights in school, but, I mean, I had a temper. So, you know, if it was ever going to come to that, it probably wouldn't have ended well for anybody, to be honest with you. But, interestingly enough, my experience with that kid being bullied ended when he found out that I was friends with that other kid who I said was my best friend. Like, oh, you're best friends with him? Well, all of a sudden I was cool with him now. But I'd already asked the teacher if I could move to a different seat in math class, so fuck him. And yeah, it was like not long after that, I just basically started skipping school and skipping weeks at a time and months at a time, and then eventually I dropped out. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much it for like actual embarrassing moments in high school. Obviously, because I wasn't there for much of it. So there just wasn't that many opportunities to be embarrassed. So yeah. Yeah, bullies in school. That's pretty much it. But you know, you live through it. You live through it and come out better on the other side. So it is what it is. Here's a perfect one to end on, I think. I think it'll be a good lesson to put a capper on this episode. Do you think life's fair? I was hoping you could help me to understand how it is or isn't. Well, no, life is not fair. I think we can see that virtually every day. That being said, and I guess this isn't really true 100% of the time, but I think and I believe that you are more likely to come out on the other side better if you just keep trying. If you stay positive and you don't give up. And we all have those days where we just don't want to do it and we just want to quit. And, you know, maybe it's alright to quit for a few hours. Just, you know, say fuck it. I'm going to go watch TV for a little while. Or play video games or, you know, do whatever. But eventually you get back on the horse and you do what you got to do and, you know, go kick life right in its ass. You know, that's basically what you do. You know, life, it is what it is. You know, it's tough to explain because I am a believer that things happen for a reason. You never understand what that reason is in the moment. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, could be years down the line before you look back and you're like, yeah, I guess that did make sense, you know, or if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened, or, you know, whatever. The key is to keep going. That's what I tell people. You just got to keep going. And, you know, I don't think life helps people that give up. Oh God, let me think. I'm thinking of a quote. I'm trying to let it come back to me. Actually, it's from Troy, which both of you guys watched. Agamemnon says that the gods protect only the strong. And I kind of believe that to be true, and I don't think you necessarily have to be, you know, a king or anything like that, but I think that, you know, whatever entity is up there or not up there, or whatever engine runs this little, you know, ball of dirt and water and all this stuff it's spinning around, whatever governs that, you know, that entity, you know, luck favors those that help themselves out and try to make themselves better and try to make other people's lives better. You know, I believe in good karma, and, you know, I think you guys can know that and appreciate that as much as I try to help people and how much I care about people and stuff like that. You know, as much as humanly possible. You know, at some point you have to put yourself first as well. You know, because you just can't do it all the time. And sometimes you have to make time for yourself and your family and, you know, all that stuff. But, yeah, life is not fair. Life is never going to be fair. But, you can get through it if you just keep pushing forward. That's the thing I keep telling myself every day, is just to push forward. You know, and, usually when I'm on my, my last day of my work week or whatever, you know, going to work or coming back from break or whatever, I'm getting out of the car, I'm just saying one more push, you know, and that's what it is. It's just one more push, and then, you know, then you can chill out for a little while and then go back to the grind and do it all over again. So, you know, I think it is the way it is. And, you know, life is not easy for anybody. And I know we talk about, you know, the billionaires and all that stuff, but truth of the matter is they've got their own set of problems too, and it's a completely different set of problems that we have, you know, than we have. You know, they always say more money, more problems, and that's definitely true to a certain extent. You know, a lot of his problems we don't even see, and I'm positive that there is a fair number of rich people that wish they could be one of us, and they're never gonna be. So, you know, me personally, I kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm happy with life the way it is. And, you know, if it gets to be a little bit more than that, that's cool. But, you know, stays the way it is, I've got no problem with that. So yeah, I think that's a good one to end it on. Leave a like, subscribe, notifications, and all that nonsense. You can go to robertblanchardbooks.com. Check out the award-winning Roar of a Dragon series. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you'd like to hear more about them, the Rise of Dragons podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter, all Bobby's World 2110. Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is the Dark Souls Remastered No Estus run, the Hot Garbage Remastered No Estus run. This past Monday, when is this video going up? This past Monday, I believe, is the top of Sen's Fortress. And next Monday is going to be the win or bust against the Iron Golem. So that's what's going on right now. I am not pulling my hair out as much as I was in the catacombs, but I'm still pulling my hair out here and there. Back in the archives, I have the Elden Ring No Crimson Flask run. I have the Sekiro No Healing Gourd run. I have the Dark Souls 3 No Estus run, and Dark Souls 3 No Level Up run. So check those out if you're interested. There was a live stream last week. I played Silent Hill 2, the remake. The blind run. It's a blind run live stream. So check that out. It was kind of fun. Playing a different kind of game for a little while. And getting pissed off at cockroaches was a good time. There's also a recent live stream of my my no level up build from Dark Souls 3 against the Nameless King. That was a fun time. So check that out. Various shorts on the channel. There's more videos like this. The Your Father's Story videos. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little tired. This will be the 6th one, I think. So there'll be 5 more if you want to see more advice that I'm giving to the boys and all that stuff. Bobby's World Hunger Games. The 28th one just came out, which means there's 27 more for you to check out, and some other offshoot videos of that as well. So yeah, plenty of content for you to check out. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Soulsborne Battle to the Death, where I pick 2 random Soulsborne bosses, and I pit them against each other, and then I do bios, and then I decide who I think would win, and then you leave your opinions in the comments. So fun times abound. This year, I think, is going to be, well, not I think, I know. It's going to be a very busy one. I know I've talked about it in other videos, but Kate is a very big supporter of what I do, and I really appreciate that. And, you know, I'm already pretty busy as it is, but it's going to get even busier. And Kate wants to make sure that I'm still able to do this stuff and keep pushing out content because she knows I love doing it. So going to continue to find time to do that, and just keep working my ass off and just see what happens in 2026. So yeah, good times. And I probably wouldn't be working as hard on it without your love and support, which I appreciate very much. The growth on the channel has been just outstanding to watch, and it's been a long time coming. I've worked really, really hard. So thank you so much for that. And there's going to be plenty more coming your way, as long as I can keep kicking. So, and there's no signs of that stopping anytime soon. So, yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. So I hope everyone has an amazing 2026. I hope everyone has an awesome week. Be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. See, I'll see you for live, y'all. Bye.
Hey, boss.
Yes, Courtney.
Mrs. Anderson called. She wanted to order several copies of your books for family and friends.
Oh, that's amazing. Get some ordered, have them sent over to me, and I will sign them for her. I really appreciate it if you could do that for me.
I didn't know you were an author.
You did. Courtney, you've been with me for like 2 years now, and we've talked about it fairly constantly, and there's an ad at the end of every one of these videos.
Well, that doesn't mean that I listen to everything you tell me. Are the books any good?
Well, readersfavorite.com said that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. I know, that's pretty crazy, but that's exactly what it says. It's on the Cry of a Raven review. Go check it out.
Well, that's pretty cool. What are the books about?
It's about a soldier who gets exiled for saving a baby dragon, and later he's killed, and he wakes up 3,000 years later with strange powers, and he's watched over by the very same dragon, and the world has been overrun by evil, and he now must travel back in time to stop the evil that started in his own home country.
Wow, that sounds interesting. How can I get copies of the books?
Well, you can go to robertblanchardbooks.com and order your copies there. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And if you want to hear more about them, you can listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast.
You have a podcast too?
You know what, Courtney? You are doing such an amazing job that I think you are due for a raise. How does that sound?
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Thank you, boss.
You bet. Too bad the raise is going to be when I raise a water balloon over her head and just... Maybe I'll wait until her mom calls. I think she'll find that pretty funny. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com right now and get your copies of the series that got 3 5-star reviews from readersfavorite.com, 3 Author Shout Recommended Reads Awards, and 2 Literary Titan Silver Awards. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free, read more reviews, short stories, and much more. And if you want to hear more about them, you can listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts.